there, partner. Okay, so we're back. 2 days in a row. I'm not sure when yesterday's episode will go out. That might be a lost tapes for when we need one. I don't know. Or
that's some heat, man. That was a decent.
That's what
first
I mean.
live epi. That was some fun shit, man.
It was a good one. That's why I don't want to. Wow, Valley special. But we're back. This week we are going to be doing our award show for MMA 2022, and we have, I think, 12 different categories planned out. I'll go over them real quick. First is going to be knockout of the year. Second is going to be the submission of the year. Third is going to be the fight that got canned in 2020 that you wish did not. That's got to have a better name next year. Got to shorten that up. Fourth is the comeback fighter of the year. Fifth is the win of the year. Sixth, we're going to do photos of the year, which we have all previously submitted. 7 is going to be our round of the year. 8, fight of the year. 9, story of the year. 10, bold prediction of the year for 2023. And then we're going to cap it off with our 2 final ones, female fighter of the year and male fighter of the year. I think that's a pretty comprehensive list for MMA topics. Obviously, we're not doing the Ariel Helwani 26, but I feel like
Shout out the GOAT.
The GOAT is right. This is a good list to get us started off on. But before we do that, you guys watch any football today? Let's go over a little football.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I was trying to think of who played, but then it was
Bills Dolphins.
Yeah, Bills Dolphins was game 1. Giants Vikings game 2, and then Ravens Bengals in progress.
And they've all been pretty fucking good games.
Yeah.
I mean, like down to the wire.
One possession games.
Yeah. Bless you. Bengals Ravens on right now. Ravens were a big dog tonight. And what did you say the score was right before we started?
15-10 Bengals.
15-10 Bengals. You think Joey B gets it done?
I like to think so.
Yeah.
I mean, holy smokes! Without Lamar at home, you think it'd be a W?
They just smoked them last week,
right?
It was last week.
Yeah.
Wow, shows you how much I follow football. Damn, that's whack. I would be pissed playing the same team twice in a row. That's sick though. Football is one of those where I don't even give a shit about it until honestly, NFC, AFC championships. Same with basketball. It's like I don't really watch till playoffs. But MMA, we don't have playoffs. We're all year round, baby. All year round.
It's playoffs every time you go in.
It's fucking seriously.
That's how it goes.
Do you guys like how PFL does have the playoff system? Because they are an MMA league that does a regular season and then a playoff. Do you like that concept, or do you think the year-round fighting is ideal?
I'm in on the PFL style, like we're saying, like a season, and I'm in on Bellator, just the Grand Prix style, where you get your top 8, and then this is how we're gonna do it. Everyone's getting the same amount of fights. It's just you fight who you fight. That's everyone knows. Who you're training for. Everyone knows what you're doing. Stuff like that. So I think it's good. I think it gives fighters a little bit more direction.
Yeah.
And it also sets up for more frequent fights, which obviously with injury, but also more paychecks. I think there's pros and cons with it all, but structurally and the system wise, for sure, I would say I'm pro for that style.
Yeah, and I think setting up the Grand Prix style, when you have 8 guys, it just sets up more exciting fights. It's like a built-in storyline. You don't need that extra bullshitting, shit talking. It's kind of built into the system.
Everyone knows how a seeding playoff works. It's a structure that crosses all sports systems. So it's so easy to follow. Where it's you get behind a 7, you get behind a 6,
for sure,
things like that.
Yeah. Love that. PFL, Jake Paul. I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but Jake Paul at the helm of what did they call that division? Their
Super fight.
super fight division, something like that. Do you think that ends up taking off for them, Boog? Do you think they end up doing like a lot of pay-per-views of that, or do you think it's going to be kind of a bust?
I'm not sure. I mean, if Jake Paul actually like does MMA, that'd be big balls, and like I don't know who he would fight, but like I think that whole like, oh, I'll fight you boxing and then MMA, that's like, okay, once the boxing fight's done, he'll just be like, no, I won't do it.
You think
like, that has that written all over it, but yeah, I don't know who would be like a super fight, like Francis maybe if he signs on with the PFL, but yeah, I don't know.
And then Francis, that's a tricky one. I saw something today where they were talking. The first fight to set up for Francis in the new organization is going to be easy, right? They have a top dog over there that they could put the UFC champ against. It's going to be the second, third, fourth fight where they have an issue. I don't see any organization that has as deep of a heavyweight roster as the UFC. I mean, people were talking they would love to see a Ryan Bader Francis Ngannou fight. I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I think it's just he's one of those guys that's going to be extremely tough to find fights for. But if he does the PFL and does just fights like a one super fight contract or something like that, that might be big in his favor. Shoot,
I feel like he wants the Fury fight,
Bro, and that's with boxing too, man. It's a one-fight thing. I think he might just be trying to hit a homer and calling it a day. You know? Yeah, go ahead, man.
They didn't like the UFC. I feel like he wanted to do that and have that a part of his contract, and the UFC didn't want that to happen. So I think that's like part of the reason why. Like I think he wants the Fury fight like bad because Strickland even mentioned it yesterday in his press conference. He's like, Fury should take that fight, like because it would be like a lot of money. So I think that's what he's like chasing.
And then if he does take that Fury fight, do you think if he wins, do you think he would stay with boxing for a while? Or do you think, like you said, do you think he'd be one and done, just take the paycheck and...
I mean, if it's a fat enough check that he's thinking, like, what can I really get? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how much boxing really makes because those, I don't know. But, I mean, what do you think? Like, over or under, like, 15 mil if he fights Fury?
I would say over. I mean, when all's said and done with pay-per-views and...
So, like, is that a fat enough check? You know, if you're thinking if it's like 20, 25, I don't know how high you go, but if you think it's over 15, I mean, that's like that's a UFC contract in 10 rounds.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that would be the strategy. So, and again, it's tough with Paul because with super fight, you need super fighters to create a division.
Great point.
So, I mean, if you don't get Nate, you don't get Francis, you don't get Eddie Alvarez, who I think is still free agent. I don't know who else. I mean, that's at least maybe American-based top 3.
Platinum.
Wow.
Platinum. I mean, a lot of dollars and cents to get that guy out of where he's at right now. He's on the up and up. But if you can get those two together for boxing, give Jake Paul something to do. You know, if you can't get him going with PFL,
right?
That's a good one because Perry's showing up. I mean, at least everyone in this room thinks Perry's showing up
for sure.
You know, so I mean, that's like we've said before. You can usually count with MMA guys. They're coming in. You know, they're not gonna back down. So, yeah, I'll side on that.
That's a good point though with Perry, but yeah, he is kind of bare knuckles, cash cow, if you will, right now. Yeah. It's kind of crazy to see his transformation go from a guy that didn't really, not that he didn't work hard, but he was just kind of a fuck, for lack of a better words, and then he goes and finds a place where he can be successful, and he's killed it over there. Won a bunch of fights, made a ton of money. But yeah, him versus Jake Paul would be a very sick fight.
I feel like promotions, like if they cross promote like Bellator did with Ryzen, like that leads to more success. Like that's what they should do. Like that's like the tournaments and the what you guys were talking, the playoffs,
right?
PFL. Like that's different from the USC, so that gets more eyeballs. And like that's what they should do because UFC is obviously the biggest promotion. So you should do stuff different than the UFC to get more eyeballs, and that's why they should cross promote more. They should let Mike Perry go to the PFL for one fight. Bare Knuckle should take a small percentage, but like make, because you're gonna make money off that.
I was gonna say it's gonna bring eyeballs back to Bare Knuckle, especially if Perry puts on a show. They're gonna be like, "Fuck, that guy's exciting.
Exactly.
Need to watch him fight his next fight."
Because they did it with Bellator.
Yeah, I mean, you got to put a stand-up guy from PFL in there with Perry. I mean, you know, so if you can get a guy like a Perry who's ever in, like you guys are saying, in the PFL,
yeah, but that'd be like a great, if Diaz doesn't do the Paul thing, have Perry box Paul and then fight him MMA.
Wow, that probably would be a good replacement, because I feel like while he's younger than Diaz and he's probably more in his prime, he's not as complete of a fighter. You know what I mean? With the ground game. Like, obviously he's got a ground game. He can work it, but it's not Nate Diaz who's going to fucking just, you're in his world now. It's different. But yeah, Mike Perry would be a good one. But yeah, I also like what you said about changing it up. Like, you got to do something a little bit different. Like, I guess a decent comparison, maybe not, would be the XFL. Like, they're just trying to do something different. Like, you can't do, what is it, like the CFL, the Canadian Football League, shit like it's like way too close to the NFL. No one's ever going to watch. But XFL, you do things a little bit different. You get a little bit more eyeballs on, and who knows, the fans might come. Shoot, yeah, PFL, sweet. I think they're onto something, though. I honestly do think they're going to end up the second best organization by the end of the year.
Jake Paul Paulo?
No.
PFL?
I
mean, he's
in MMA.
Contracts.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like Jake Paul's first MMA fight with Paulo. Oh,
it's got to be a big one.
Was it Jake and Paulo that wrestled, or was it Logan and Paulo?
Logan.
And who's supposedly the better wrestler of the two? It's Logan, right?
I think, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and supposedly he held himself decent against Paulo. But I'm like, dude, if Paulo wanted to go off, he could have fucking just grown manned his ass at any point. Yeah, that would be interesting. Paulo. Now, what's the deal with him? Do you think he's really done with the UFC?
He wants more money, and they're like, okay, we'll give you more money, but you got to fight. You got to sign a 6-fight deal. He's like, no, I just want more money for one more fight, and they're like, we're not doing that. He wanted way more money for the Whitaker fight, because they was only giving him 70-70.
Do you think he deserves more money for a one-fight deal, or do you think that's kind of a shitty business? It's a shitty business move, right?
The UFC just doesn't do that.
Yeah,
it's just part of the deal. You know, it just sucks. It's where you're at the deal.
Right.
They're never gonna ante up for one time.
Yeah.
You know, that's not.
Especially
you're
if
a co-main. You're not. Yeah.
Or insinuating
you know.
Leave.
Yeah, exactly. You're not running the show. You know, and so. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
They don't like when you fight out their contracts. But
yeah.
Get them Hamzat, man. Come on. Get this show on the road. Get this show on the road.
I don't know about that either.
That should have been in Brazil. That would have been bananas.
Oh, you better have a lot of people around Hamzat.
I was gonna say, I think Hamzat would have fucking ended up dead.
I mean, immediately wheels down. Immediately wheels down. I need 12 by the fucking private jet gate out.
Literally.
Oh goodness.
He needs like an underground tunnel. They would literally.
Might have to have him armed. I don't know. I don't know.
An armed Hamzat would be wild in Brazil. That guy might start spraying.
No, I don't even know. Where would you put this guy to sleep? I don't know. I mean, if he was spitting flames, which he most likely.
There's no way he doesn't.
Oh goodness.
They got Covington out, so.
That's true. And Chael.
I was about to say that.
Chael P. Yeah, I feel like at the end of the day. He would probably be fine, but goddamn, if he hopped that fence into the crowd, they would.
He'd fight back.
Stop.
Probably those other two guys were like, I'm ready. Let's get me out of here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He would go head first.
I'm into it. Yeah, he's doing it.
Oh my god, that would be a disaster. I would love to see that. Wow, call Uncle Dana. Get that going. I never even thought about it.
Do it.
That's a good one. Fuck, put that into your bold predickies for 2023. All right. Well, let's get into the awards a little bit.
Let's go, bro.
You ready, Boog?
I'm ready. Yeah, born ready, baby. Shout out Lance.
Born ready. Get a little of that McD's Coke.
Stevenson. NYC.
All right. First category of the year is going to be, or our first category of the awards is going to be Knockout of the Year. And now we all just had a nomination. We didn't vote on the three of ours. I thought about doing that, maybe putting them in, and then you vote for one that's not yours and see if we came up with a win. You know what I mean?
Kind of. That kind of went over my head, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
No, so I was thinking we put in all of our picks, and then let's say I vote for either yours or Boogs. You vote for either Boogs or mine. And so essentially one pick would have either 2 votes, or we would all tie. So we would have a winner for the category.
So
or it would be
yours.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you would have a winner for the categories. But then I was like, that's like we said, way too confusing. So I was like, that's way over my head.
I can learn as I go if we decided to roll with that plan.
Fuck that.
I've always been a great audible guy, you know.
You have been able to run the audibles. Knockout of the year. First category, Boog Meek. Let's lead us off.
A lot of good knockouts this year. This one, not in the UFC.
Wow. Starting off not in the UFC. Love that.
This was a guy coming off a loss to the same guy, Demetrius Johnson versus.
Oh wow!
What was his first name?
I forget.
Adriano Moraes.
Yes.
From one championship, it was a big knee. No, sorry, it was a big right hand. Led to a big knee walk off, and it was spectacular.
Now, when he kneed him, was he grounded? I forget if his ass was on like the ground or if he was like just falling.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it was like perfectly timed. I think he was getting up.
Yeah, it was. I think
he
you're
was
right.
falling into the fence, and then as he's coming into the fence, the knee comes, and then because one championship like plays that, like and just time, boom, see ya.
Yeah, that's how I got KO'd the first time. He got kneed on the ground.
Yeah. So vengeance, sick call, dude.
That is sick. Yeah, getting him back pretty much the same way. Do you think those knees should be legal in the UFC? I mean, soccer kicks, I feel like that's a tough one. That's just a brutal look. But knees, they're a little more compact, and it's not like as vicious looking.
Fence with their.
I'm 100% pro knees.
Dustin Poirier special.
Yeah. Hanging on the fence. That's the other one. Do you think you should be able to grab the fence in the UFC? I low-key think you should. Like, if your finger gets ripped off, your finger gets ripped off. You could get some mad leverage having a guy pinned up, just gripping the fence, and it would be like a real street fight.
Oh, God.
Shit would be gnarly. Yeah, I don't know. I like that, though. Demetrius, he...
big win.
He's a guy, when we talked about it, that I would like to see back in the UFC eventually. I mean, nothing but highlights. Just ragdolls, guys. I like it. I'm gonna write these down as we go.
Did you do 2 per? Or
just some.
Oh yeah,
that one was just that.
Okay, because we had double lineage, so I didn't know what we were doing there.
I wasn't sure if.
Yeah.
All right, Kev. Let's get knockout of the year for young Kev Cali.
Okay, so I did 2 pretty much for most every category because we did 2 lines.
Yeah.
So number 1 for me is I'll kind of just address kind of the most iconic within the UFC probably is the Leon over Kamaru Usman. The head kick knockout in Utah, 5th round.
Crazy.
Definitely losing on the scorecards. Usman kind of ducks in to a perfectly timed pow. Just the perfect storm right there.
And I think
number 1 pound for pound.
The video of the corner and everything that came out afterwards definitely added to the knockout. You could see where he was at mentally, and like he kind of looked out of it for a second, and then they gave that speech, and he comes out, and then
just everyone's reaction in general.
Exactly.
I mean, he gets tackled by his brother coming in from behind.
Anik's call on it.
Yeah.
He's not cut from that cloth. Boom.
Yeah.
Kicks him in the head. Might be the greatest call of all time for the UFC.
Yeah,
Just spot for spot. I love that one. That one, I feel like probably, I mean, knockout of the year. That could go on for knockout of maybe the decade. Like, for what it means, like when it's all said and done, looking back.
Yeah, one of the most iconic just within UFC history.
For sure.
Probably top fiver.
Yeah.
You know,
pound for pound headshot.
Yeah.
And what's your other one? You said you wrote down two.
Yeah, I wrote down 2 each time. So number 2 went down in Phoenix, Arizona. This was Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson, a man that I had allegiance with, man.
Right.
Still
had allegiance?
Has had. I mean, when it was Du Bronx, I didn't know where to stand. He turned me that day, but no, I still love T Ferg.
Yeah. College shit only.
Yeah. That's good. Right. But yeah, I mean, the sheer power of that front kick going right up the pipe, toes coming up through the chin like that, man. I mean, Tony going to just instant meltdown mode, just boom.
Literally melt mode. That picture of his face caving in.
Yeah, dude.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah, I think just the sheer, just power, explosiveness, lights out, dank, I don't know. That one just stood out. I mean, and it's just Chandler. I mean, Chandler's just built like that. So you just
fucking meatball.
To see that power come through, what that actually is, and just for Ferg to feel that and see that, and that image of that thing just vibrating through him. Crazy, man. But yes, that was number 2 for me. Knock it out of the year. That was UFC 278. Chandler over Ferg.
Very sad.
Yeah, very very sad indeed.
UFC 274. My bad. 278 was Utah.
Oh yeah.
274 Phoenix.
Yeah, that's a sad one. T Ferg. It's just, I don't know. Hasn't been himself in a few years now. But did he hang him up? I always forget if he took the gloves off. He didn't, right?
No, he's still got a belt in him.
A belt.
Him, Beeb. Tough.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Wow, that would actually be a great tough. I wouldn't want to see him fight, but just to have him coach and then cancel the fight at the end, just because that would be a mauling. What do you think of Khabib being done with coaching? I mean, kind of all of a sudden, huh?
I mean, you saw it. Everyone was saying it online. Like, tough fights come about. He runs. He's so undefeated, and then now these guys have tough fights, and he wants to get out when he's undefeated, coach of the year and everything like that. It's like, no, dude, you got to stay when it gets tough.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel you on that. It's shitty for all those guys that put in all this work with them, built up all that trust, and then it's not like Javier's not going to do a good job and take over and do the right thing, and he's been there probably every step of the way anyways, but just kind of a shitty ordeal for them. What's your move, Kev, if you're with Khabib? Do you stay with Javier at this point now, or do you go find another camp and try and let's say you're Darren Wynn?
D-Win. No, forget about D-Win. No, I think this is really where we actually get a chance to maybe see how Khabib really was as a coach, because how good are these guys without him, and how good are the imprint of what was going on. I don't think they're gonna leave, because if one goes and it's some big names, they're all gonna go. That's a pack, and I think true. AKA truly is their home, or a main hub, I should say.
Right.
So I think I would see those guys staying. But Khabib, I mean, I don't even know what family life for him was like. I mean, is he married with children? Right? Like
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I didn't really know that at all. So he is in his mid-30s, so if he has kids and wants to spend good youthful years with his kids, he's got the money to do it. Some guys leave when they're 53, some guys, when they're 38. If he is out, it's usually Khabib's a man of his word. So if he's out, I wouldn't expect to see him at least in corners for
a while,
an extended duration. maybe if guys go to Dagestan, maybe you get him out and wrestling around a little bit, but he's probably not making frequent flyer miles again, going back and forth. I mean, God, that
got to be a tough trip.
I mean, yeah, and that wears on you. Got to, and I don't know, like I said, mid-30s age-wise, but man, may as well be somewhere higher up, just going and going and going. So yeah, I can respect that. Like, what else does he have to accomplish in the game? We are talking about getting out on top, tough fights. That is all true, but I mean, if that door is there, some guys want to keep doing it. Some guys, for him, he doesn't have to.
Right.
He can take it, walk both high roads. Career of athlete, career of coach, top and top, or at least on top in each.
It's pretty nice.
And then he gets to go home to the fam. I mean, that's kind of a smart, God forbid, smart move by the guy.
Yeah.
Us MMA fans maybe a little sour, but I mean, for Habib, I would say just a huge win.
In his spot, probably do the same.
Yeah.
Now, what if he's going back and just raising his kids to be the next generation of fucking? That's the whole plan.
I hope
it's not about this generation. It's about the kids that are 5 and 6 now, and just builds them into fucking machines. I mean, could you imagine how far MMA's come since he was a kid and how good he is, and now imposing that on kids would be fucking wild.
Because that's MMA is just the Olympics, basically. Every nation gets to compete.
Yeah.
It's just a way different thing, just different sport. But yeah, you can just dominate one potential sport throughout different organizations, because they got some Bellator guys too that are badass.
Yeah, I mean, in every organization, you see that Dagestan. I mean, Russia in general, but Dagestan, it's fucking crazy.
The best region.
I mean, I want to ask one more question before I get mine. Do you think we ever see MMA in the Olympics? I feel like that would be a tough thing to kind of govern for the Olympics, but I feel like it would be a really fun sport to see representatives come out of like each individual camp, and you'd have to do it like exhibition, you know what I mean? Because the Olympics are so short a time, you'd have to do like they do boxing, cut down the rounds and stuff like that. But
I would love to see the practice room fights of what could go down, like all the 155s that could be it for Russia. I would just love to see that bracket play. Yeah. Like I could watch that over. He's fighting a guy from Cuba. I don't care about that. I'll take those 4 bracket matchups to figure out who just got here. That's the real, Olympic kind of thing. Like USA, like pumping through like all those matches. If it was actually in the Olympics, like oh my God, those practice room matches would be crazy.
That's probably a good point. We probably would see better matches in the UFC anyways, as opposed to the Olympics, because you're getting the best guys against the best guys. Exactly. Doesn't matter the nation.
Yeah. Literally fighting for gold.
Literally. All right. Well, with my picks, knockout of the year, I went 2 as well. My second one, I went Leon versus Usman. I felt like that was, like I said, looking back, I'm probably going to regret picking the other one. But that one has got the potential to be knockout of the lifetime of the UFC. The one I chose, though, is Pereira versus Adesanya.
Nice.
And that one, I mean, I feel like it's kind of the same sort of situation. They didn't have the pound for pound champ, but this was the third time they fought, first time in MMA. And Pereira ends up getting the knockout in the is it 5th round?
Yeah.
Like was it minute left, something like that?
Yeah.
Or 2 minutes left, minute 30.
3.
Something like that. Yeah, that knockout. And I guess it was. Did they technically call it a TKO because the ref stopped it? But still, I mean, if he didn't stop it, it would have been a fucking mauling. We might not ever see Adesanya in the UFC again.
That could have been nasty. That could have been nasty.
But yeah, so I chose him. That was his 3rd win of the year. There was just a lot that went into it for him, and weathered the storm against Adesanya. Was getting beat low key. I mean, high key, fucking getting picked apart, and just kind of kept his composure and landed the one he needed. So, there it is. DJ, Usman, Edwards. Oof. Who was your other one?
Chandler Ferguson.
and then Pereira versus Adesanya. And I feel like those are, kind of the standard that we saw floating around everywhere. You know what I mean? That was those four are probably the most notable. Maybe was it Frankie Edgar one? He had another one that was sort of Ferguson-like where his face got melted, but that was another good knockout. Alrighty,
It's a
well,
couple for Frankie though.
Yeah.
Santagan and Cheeto.
Tough.
Nasty ones.
hate to see it.
Yeah.
And Frankie went on to do a WWE match afterwards, looking like he had the most CTE of all time. It was a bad look. Let's move on. Round 2, submission of the year. Kev, Cal, you want to lead us off here?
Okay, so number 1 I had was Charlie Olives, a.k.a. Charles Oliveira, over Justin Gaethje, rear naked choke. Wow. Taking home what should have been the belt, but that was a sweet submission. Big Olives fan over here. So knowing Gaethje was crippling down to the ground and then Charlie just jumping neck immediately, knowing what to do, getting a lost fish out of the water and just saying, night, night. We'll do it in your home state, brother. We'll do it in your home state. I'm not a hater, Gaethje, but I'm just a dude Bronx. Love him, man. Let's go.
Dude Bronx truther.
Yes, sir. And then number 2, I don't know if you guys remember this or saw this, was Paul Craig over Nikita Krylov in London.
I don't know if I remember that.
Triangle choke. Okay, so we got Craig on the back, and here comes Krylov trying to come in. All of a sudden, the punch down comes in, gets caught, and then Paul Craig just starts pulling, winding, squeezing, trying, and then boom, and then about 8 seconds later, you just see a massive hand pump.
Panic tap.
Boom, over. And then that was, insane because he came in. It was a good timed up, ground and pound strike, but somehow it just got absorbed, caught, and then Paul Craig just knew what to do and didn't miss a step. Yeah. Snapped it up, choked it out. See you later. Crazy.
And sometimes there's just nothing better than the basics. The triangle, it's probably one of the things. Yeah. Exactly. One of the things that's been around for a long time, but when it's done perfectly and there's just nothing you can do. Yeah. There's no amount of pulling out or sitting to your ass. You're fucking donezo.
And you're not even thinking I'm doing something wrong as I'm going in.
Right.
I'm not making a dumb move. I'm not pouncing in. That was coming straight down and it just that's just a guy who just apparently was better at that moment right there. Yeah. But really that's number 2 for me.
Love that. And you said number 1 was
Oliveira over Gaethje, rear naked choke.
And that's when he missed weight, right?
Yes.
And you think that was the scale?
Yeah,
it seemed like there was 4 fighters that had similar issues, something like that.
Yeah,
they messed.
Dude, let me borrow that pen for a second because you just made me kind of drop my noggin for something down here. Yeah, I don't know about the scales, gents. Because we saw the 55. He was ready to go. And yeah, it's tough. He can't do anything to change it. He was going to that fight anyway. Post Gaethje walking into Makhachev, belt or no belt. So, we saw that outcome at the end of the day. So I think it wouldn't have changed if he had the belt. But yeah, that was my first one.
Well, now that you say that, that's a perfect lead in. Oh, you're good. That's a perfect lead into mine. Submission of the year for me is going to be Islam Makhachev over Charles do Bronx. And that is for the sole reason of when you sub the guy with the most subs, it's got to mean more.
Made it look easy.
And I was gonna say, with the speed he did it with, it really put into perspective how good he must really be. There was a picture that went around a few weeks ago. It was after that fight. Islam flexed, but it was from the back, and you could see how shredded his fucking back was. And I'm like, that's the reason he fucking tapped right away. The guy is a bear. It is so crazy. But yeah, I think when you sub the guy with the most subs and how he did it, how easy he made it look, it had to be him. Excited to see what he does if Charles gets the chance to fight him in the future. I know Charles getting up there in age.
I'd like to see it not in Abu Dhabi.
That's what I mean. Exactly. I would. Yeah. There's a lot of things. It was his first fight with no glass or being able to see. There was a lot of things that were just kind of funky about that fight in Charles's favor. Makes it one I'd like to see again, but I'm not sure it changes. But Boog, lay it on us. Submission of the year. What are we thinking?
This is could be a fight of the year candidate, but this was pretty crazy. I got Yuri Prohaska against Glover Teixeira.
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't your traditional rear naked choke. He was down on the cards. Glover's a black belt, specializes in jiu-jitsu on the ground. And to pull that out, not being a ground specialist for Yuri, 5th round, tired. I mean, it was Leon-esque, but I mean, just pretty remarkable submission, I'd say.
And I just rewatched that one like right before you got here. There's so many back and forth in that fight.
Oh, yeah.
It's an incredible fight.
Didn't even know
he was.
Yeah, they like thought he got his arm in, and then they're like, he tapped.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Which makes it, I feel like that like makes it a little bit more exciting. Like as a fan, you kind of see it before the announcer, or not see it, but like you have that feeling before the announcers do, and you're like, oh shit, I'm on to something before that. But yeah, that, I mean, I feel like that fight's gonna get a lot of love tonight.
Yeah, that had to be like what, plus 1,500.
The submission from your
5th round. I mean, come on.
There's no way.
Just entering that 5th round, especially.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if someone before the fight put it.
I don't even know if Vegas would have that line because
Yeah.
they would lose their ass if you know
That's
what I mean.
true. That's true.
Yeah, that, I mean, if you did put fucking 5th round Yuri sub, holy shit, you're walking away a happy man.
Yeah. Especially because it was at the bell too. So you're waiting. They're like shit, and then you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, great fight. Great submission. That's, again, like I said, that's one that's going to be talked about, I feel like, all night. But we have our fights, or our submissions of the year: Yuri over Glover, Islam over Charles. Kev, I keep forgetting yours.
I had
Gaethje.
I had Oliveira over Gaethje,
And then,
Craig over Krylov.
Yes.
High street sandwiches. I was getting one when that happened.
Which one?
High street and slow.
Oh, High Street. Yeah.
When that fight
For
happened.
Paul Craig?
Yeah, I was watching it on my phone.
That's a high. I haven't been to High Street forever. Holy shit. And then I think one that I'll add in as a.
You took me there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, ah, shit. I remember that. I was like, man, I'm high as shit right now thinking about that. But I was like, that was a good ass sandwich.
A little honorable mention: Weili Zhang over Carla Esparza. I mean, I don't even know what you call it.
Yeah,
it was like a crucifix, fucking rear naked. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
JV.
it looked like Esparza didn't want to be there. Yeah. Caitlin Davis was out of it. But yeah, submissions of the year. Those are always fun. No twisters this year from Bryce Mitchell, because that would have made the number one immediately. But on to the next, number 3. Now, like I said, this fight's going to be getting a lot of love. This category is going to be fight that got canned in 2022 you wish did not. And mine is, I guess I have 2. First one's going to be Glover versus Yuri, the rematch in December. I feel like that had, like we said, the writings to be just another classic, whatever way it went. But obviously, Yuri hurts the shoulder, relinquishes the belt, and then we don't end up getting it. But has there been any update on his shoulder? I know he's, like 2 weeks ago, I saw that his doctor said everything looked like it was moving in the right direction. But do we know when he can do anything?
I'm not sure, but like you were saying, I think the only reports that have came out after all the like negative came out has only been like
Up
recovery or like things have been good, surgery's okay. Like, so I don't know. You could probably get, I mean, throughout 2023, he'll be a constant story in terms of his progress, recovery.
For sure.
If he's starting, get back into training, stuff like that. But yeah, he could have an exciting 2023 though.
That's definitely would be comeback fighter of the year if he has
For sure.
a good 2023 next year.
Johnny Walker.
Oh, don't say that. Dude, that would be the most unfortunate thing because
You see Johnny Walker's KO? Ryan Spann.
Oh yeah,
Remember the Apex? Johnny Walker.
That was
Jamal
Hill.
yeah,
My bad.
I get them
Yes,
confused
my fault.
all the time too.
Yes.
I flip them around.
Jamal Hill, you're right. Thanks.
Was that the one where he had to walk out of the UFC in his no shoes?
No, that was after a win. But that was hella funny.
He's walking down the strip in his fight
That was
kit.
like a GTA scene or
Literally,
yeah.
like cyberpunk.
So funny.
Just such a fool. So I had that one fight that got canned. Wish I hadn't. And then another one was Lewis versus Spivak in the Apex. Lewis been on a little bit of a skid here and there, but I would have liked to see him get in the small ring and just really have his way with Spivak. But that one, like I said, I feel like these are all recency bias, but I feel like the UFC like really started getting hot like September, later third of the year. First half was good, but a lot of good shit happened towards the end of the year. Those are my two. Boog, lay it on us. Fight that got canned.
Yeah, this one was a one a lot of people were looking forward to. Kind of had a tough time thinking of any other ones other than this one. Obviously, that was a good one. But Nate Diaz versus Khamzat Chimaev. I think that was, especially, the back and forth, although I wish we saw the press conference, that would have been cool. But, that was just, a crazy fight setup. People just, couldn't believe it was actually going to happen. And then to see how quick Nate put that guillotine on Tony, he was working that all camp.
Yeah.
And then, Khamzat does do the same thing every time he goes in and then he switches to the hip. So
was there.
Yeah,
He literally
if Diaz slapped that on,
could you imagine?
Holy
slaps
hell,
it on, rolls back, finishes it on
hell.
top, and just fucking
Holy hell. Amazing. Because he was ready.
Oh yeah.
Because that was a 1-for-1.
All grappling.
I was gonna say he was ready for that fight
Yeah.
specifically. You could obviously tell.
100%.
But yeah, that was incredible.
Although it could have gone south quick as well.
Yes, unfortunately. But that's kind of why I'm glad. That what if. Sometimes that what if in fights is kind of nice. Like the Khabib Tony, you get to just play it out in your head all day long.
Yeah.
You don't have to live with the consequences of what actually happened. But I like that. Like that a lot. Is that your one submission of the year? That's your. You had one for that one.
Yeah. I think that's Nate's does whatever he does. Maybe doesn't come back for Conor, and then UFC 300. It's they just slap on Khamzat Nate.
There's no way.
He goes back for one.
You can't. It was already too far down the line. You're just waiting longer. Only hurts Nate. That's funny though.
Food to a tiger.
Oh yeah. I think you wait that long, Khamzat might be able to beat Nick and Nate at the same time. It's a close one. Cav, lay it on us. Fight that got canned. I said sub of the year for you. That's my bad. Fight that got canned. You wish it not.
Yeah. So you mentioned one of mine, Glover Yuri 2.
Mm-hmm.
But the second, this was a fight that actually only had, I think, 15 seconds of action, which was Curtis Blades, Tom Aspinall, London.
Yes.
This is why, if anyone's wondering Tom Aspinall's injury, this is where it stems from. But yeah, this was a huge main event in London. Tom Aspinall,
Made for
Curtis
him.
Blades, big moment, big push, what could have been in terms of just future fight, next move type things.
And the future of MMA in the UK, really.
very
without
big.
Darren Till, they are looking for their next. I guess you got it with Leon low key, but
Yeah.
huge card.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so the fact that didn't go down, because matchup wise, athletically, for the real kind of hardcore, kind of minutia kind of stuff about these guys that you can really pick apart. It's it's good talking points, you know. Yeah, it's just fun. Sure. It's but yeah, two good athletes. But yeah, Aspinall's knee goes down 15 seconds in. Main event, the whole shebang, just the event, just air out of the room, man. Yeah. Tough way to end it. Tough.
It literally took the wind out of the sails. But he's one of those guys. He's like that first generation. He's like Chase Hoopers of the world. They've been training. He was jiu-jitsu guy, but he got into MMA very early on. Kind of has the whole game tied together.
His dad's an instructor, I think.
Yeah,
so he
was
just grew up underneath
exactly.
him. Just boom.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of checks all the boxes in the 5-star category. He's another guy that if he didn't get hurt, I would have loved to see Jones fight first at heavyweight. Only because
that'd be a good one.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I feel like Jones loses, that sets up Aspinall for,
anything.
For everything. Yeah, exactly. But if he loses, doesn't lose a lot of stock. Jones wins. It's a good first fight at heavies. Yeah, crazy though. Yeah, that's a shitty one. I like that you went with that one though. 15 seconds, just a freak accident.
Yeah. No, didn't even, no strikes or anything. It was
exactly. Can't do anything about it. Love it though. All right, fights that got canned that did not. Love that. So we had Glover, Yuri, Lewis, Hamzat, and then Tom Aspinall. What was your first one, Kevin? I keep fucking.
Same as you, bro. Glover, Yuri. Glover. Yeah, too.
Yuri Glover too.
Yeah.
And I think that Yuri Glover one, I don't think we ever see that again with Glover kind of expiring in age here and Yuri hurt. But
hey, you never know if he wins next weekend,
it's
bro.
True.
This coming weekend, or at least he's still in the mix.
He's a guy I would like kind of see go on top. I would like him to win the belt and then hang it up. That I feel like that's a perfect cap of a long career. Just get it and then say, you know what, we did it.
Or and maybe vacate.
Yeah.
He loses to Jamal. Yuri beats Jamal, then he still got that rematch.
That would be kind of cool. Yeah, that does set that up perfect. All right, let's move on to the next comeback fighter of the year, Turner Meeker.
So I didn't do a fighter for this one. I did comeback fights where like guys were like literally like done. And then came back.
Didn't read the script. That's all right, Kev.
No, I kind of like the idea.
I do too.
I couldn't really get one. I didn't want to give it to Drew Dober because he knocked out Bobby Green. So
I feel that. No, that's perfectly fine. I like the way you went with that. A little interpretation.
Yeah. So the first one was Landwehr versus Onama. Ooh. I mean, this guy was like stiff as a board. As Portnoy says, he did the Masvidal celebration mid-fight. Is going on the floor like a fish, and came back, got the crowd just going nuts. Could have finished the fight multiple times because Onama was like just exhausted and like he's like, stand up, we're keeping this thing going. And then the next one is fight I've been pleading with Kev to watch, just won't do it because I mean it's his boy Du Bronx's teammate. And I mean the guy is just on Queer Street all like multiple times in the fight, gets head kicked multiple times, gets it going, like recovers, mad scrambles. Kev's a big scramble guy. Daniel Santos versus John Castaneda, crazy fight. It's on ESPN Plus. Look it up. Just bananas fight. Santos gets the finish after being almost out. It was actually funny. Keith Peterson was the ref, and Dominic Cruz actually was like, credit to the ref for giving them time. And I was like, love that, Dom. A little sly hook. But, yeah.
A little Trough talk context. Dom Cruz had said Keith No Nonsense Peterson smelled like booze and cigarettes when he called the early stoppage in his fight. So
15 straight bombs, Dom, too.
Early Dom, okay. I like that though, and I do like the interpretation of the comeback fights. It's good. I think we might have to add that in for next year. There's a bunch of,
just come from behinds.
Leon, Pajeda, you could go on and on. This year's been stocked with them. Cav, let us have it. Comeback.
All right, so like I said, put 2 out there. First, Boog alluded to this guy in his little talk on number 4. I'm going Drew Dober.
Nice.
I'm going Drew Dober, man. I got to go Drew Dober, and here it is. I got to lay some stats down. If you go 0-2 in 21, you come back 3-0 in 22, now you're back in the rankings. You're looking to keep climbing up rankings now where you got some steam. I mean, comeback fighter of the year, there it is. And again, it's coming through 155. Really tough division. You're going to get, you're probably looking at a good top 25, top 30 of just UFC lightweight guys. So, like, another 15 within just the quote-unquote top 15 that are, like, guys that are legit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I went with Drew Dober because, like I said, where he was at, where he's at now, and where he could be going for 23, he set himself up really well. And the number 2, Zhang Wei Li.
Wow.
0-2 in 2021, both losses to Rose, and now here she is holding the belt. 2-0, huge win with the Joanna knockout, the Joanna win, excuse me. But yeah, and then taking the belt over Carla with the sub, for sure, which we all already said was just a massacre. So Zhang Wei and Drew Dober.
Zhang Wei
my bad.
and Drew Dober. Funny you say that because the one I chose and the only one I chose is Zhang Wei Li. Like you said, 0-2 in 2021. It comes back 2-0. And she looked like a world beater. I mean, I don't know if it's the fucking haircut or what, but god damn, she fucking put on. Looked
Cejudo.
like literally. She looked unstoppable.
How'd you guys look that up? Did you guys just, for that comeback fighter, like, how'd you look it up? Like, what would you, were you just like looking at things? Because I like was on like Tapology.
Oh,
and you know what I'm saying? I was trying to find, like, you had to have like a bad 2021. I felt like for me to like, because I'm like, there are so many people right now. I'm just green. I'm like, I can't give it to you, man. Like, if you went 2-0 in 21 and 2-0 in 22, like, just keep on keeping on, I guess. But no, I don't know. I was just kind of interested about that because I went down. I probably looked at like 3 pages, like 100 plus fighters.
I was just say that was the hardest one to find something for by far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did the same thing. I'm a Tapology guy myself. Do you go to SureDog or do you Tapology?
Ever since you said they have everything.
Like graphics and stuff.
Like everything, all the wins and losses. If you scroll down, I found Tapology.
Yeah, very user-friendly Tapology.
I was going to ask who you thought Drew Dober was going to fight next.
Well, now we're looking at, he would fight Patty.
Yeah.
Probably
not.
Maybe.
I don't think the UFC's.
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. But Dober, hot enough name, good fight style, been in there with legit guys. Yeah. I don't know. I would maybe Sarukian.
Ooh.
Arman Sarukian, right? Because he's coming off the win off of Mateusz Gamrot. Hasn't fought since. Dober 3-0.
Moicano, Hooker.
Moicano wants money.
I like Dober more. With Sarukian, he's going to climb up the ranking. I think Sarukian's holding a single digit. So can crack him into the top 10. And now, once you get into the top 10, now you've got big names with a good style, And it's Drew. Drew Dober's got the look. Drew Dober can, probably sell some tickets and stuff. So, like, he's a guy that you could see get elevated to another good matchup. Like, a Drew Dober Dustin Poirier fight.
Yeah.
Pretty good on paper. So if he gets there, he's got options. But, I'd maybe Dober Sarukian, and that's a tough-ass fight. Sarukian, going through Gamrot. Me either. But
that's one that the fans would love. It's
sure.
It's
but that's one where
you
get. My bad, Jim. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
But he gets like a stand-up guy next if he beats Sarukian out of the deal, something like that. Yeah. So my fault. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. No, Drew Dober. I was just gonna say I got him later in here. He makes my card as well. Kev.
Yeah.
Win of the year.
Lay
it on us. Who you got?
Rolled with 2.
Love that.
First one. We had an episode about this guy. We had Dan Hooker over Claudio P.
Puelles.
Claudio Puelles. Claudio P. Claudio P with huge for Dan Hooker's career. Okay. So Dan Hooker's opening pay-per-view, NYC 281. Big time losses for Dan Hooker here. He gets put back on a big stage. No one really knows Claudio P. Right? True. You know, if you lose against Claudio P here, like, where are you going? Claudio P doesn't have a ranking next to his name. You went to 45. You just got knocked out there. Like, I can't let you go up to 70. Like, you don't get a fresh coat of paint up and down when you haven't, like, fought for a belt or anything like that.
Right.
That was a must win. So I felt like in that, I put that for Dan Hooker because that's going to give him another fight in the UFC. And then from there, he can try and just keep rebuilding. But he had to have that one, and he did it with a good win. I mean, okay round one from Claudio P. But then, I mean, melted him. It was a kick to the body that ended up ending the fight, which is always a really good look offensively. If you do that and you have a guy going, like, put my hands out, like, don't want it. Mm-hmm. You know, so that was perfect for Hooker. And then number 2, I had Bilal Muhammad over Sean Brady in Abu Dhabi. Because rankings-wise, you got Bilal at 5, Brady at 9, undefeated. Bilal goes down. I mean, Bilal's got some good wins, hasn't lost in a meaningful period of time. Mm-hmm. Only a no contest with Leon is the only other win you wouldn't see. But, yeah, so if Bilal lost to Brady, all that steam, in my opinion, just gone. Yep. Brady takes all that bounce. That was such a big, like, just bounce kind of fight. And Bilal, honestly, just kind of stays where he's at. So it was such a, like, Bilal could lose so much more than he could really gain. But he had to do it in order to stay where he had to stay. So credit to Bilal to go out there, ends up finishing Brady. Again, Brady, a lot of stocks. So I felt like, again, for Bilal, that was kind of a must-win moment to really see if he's going to get a title opportunity or a true number one contender, like where the cards align, you can actually see it coming.
Right.
You know? And that might be the Hamzat fight. Maybe. Who knows? But he's going to get a big-name fight. He's going to probably be back on some pay-per-view action, which is going to be good for him. So, yeah, I put Hooker over Claudio P and Bilal over Sean Brady.
Love that.
The Bilal over Sean Brady one surprised me probably more than it should have, but I was
totally agree.
Kind of happy. Not the biggest Bilal guy, but
same.
Kind of happy with how it all ended up.
Yeah. I mean, you have to acknowledge when a guy goes out and does the work.
Oh yeah,
you know,
for sure.
But yeah, I'm not really even a huge Bilal guy either.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys that benefit from the Khabib camp. So I wonder what he ends up doing here as well.
Me and Kev got Nux from him in Vegas.
Yeah, man.
You got what? Oh, Nux from him?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Does that remember the name?
It
It popped up and I was like,
that is good.
Don't put me in the gi, bro. Don't put me in the gi. We're in the streets. It's 112. I'm sweating darts.
That's fucking good. Win of the year. This one was tough for me. I think James Krause, win of the year. I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
I was like, wait a minute.
Baginsenko.
Exactly.
Are those scandals or are those truths?
Oh, gotta
no
be
comment,
true.
but yes.
No comment, but yes. That's amazing. No, win of the year. I went again with Leon. I was debating between O'Malley and Leon. O'Malley's win over Jan. Just because he's my boy, and that was a huge win. He's a lower ranked guy fighting up and doing it. May a potential round of the year, that third round. I mean, there was just a lot of things that were fucking awesome about that.
Great win.
About that fight. So those are my two. The Leon one just always just stands out a little bit more.
Yeah.
It means just a tad bit more. But the Sugar Sean one is
and like the Sugar Sean one, it felt like he was preparing for like a championship fight.
Exactly. And that's kind of like on the mic. It's what he sounded like, and just everything. But yeah, so those
a really good win.
Those are my two. Boog, let us have it. Win of the year.
Yeah, so I put I put 2 on this one. Suge Yan. I thought that was just like, a lot of, especially casuals, throw that on. A lot of casuals didn't give Sean a chance. I really didn't even give him a chance. But I mean, just the fact that it was so close. Excuse me. Is just incredible. Great fight. Jan's just former champ. stand-up guy. I mean, took it to Aldo, took it to a bunch of people. So to stand with him, big cut. I thought, I mean, if that's a 5-round fight, I don't think they let Jan go to the 4th round with that cut. I mean, that was a huge gash.
Yeah.
Huge gash. And so then my second win of the year, I was really excited when this happened. Pereira versus Adesanya. I mean,
Wow.
Just it was a good fight. He was dealing with he was fighting Adesanya like no one had fought him before. Like it was a pretty even fight. Adesanya obviously had a little edge, got him in the first round, and like was winning kind of comfortable. Take 2. Comfortably. Shit. But that was embarrassing.
My God.
But yeah, so to just see Pereira, pull it through third time.
Huge. That third win.
It reminded me of Stipe DC2, where I was just like sitting there the whole fight, like not a lot of emotions, and then just it like happened like that, and I was just like, oh my God. Like you thought it was kind of turning the tide, like fell down, was connecting with some shots, and then boom. And then I thought, I mean, right away, I was like, if I'm an Adesanya fan, early stoppage, but I wasn't complaining because I hate Adesanya, so.
Yeah. No, again, that's a tough one. The early stoppage thing. I feel like a lot of people thought it was an early stoppage at first, and then the longer it got away from it, they were like, okay, probably the right call.
Yeah.
Because that would have been, like I said earlier, it would have been death if Pereira got 1 or 2 more on him. And that guy, we see how pinpoint his accuracy is with Strickland. He was it the Strickland fight where he hit him like 3 times? Like he hit him once and then
like
had him like on the way down as his head was hitting the mat.
Yeah.
He was already fucking on him. So yeah,
so
I think
sick.
that's
That was so sick.
that's one of those you just let go. Okay, wins of the year. I honestly think you can make a case for all of those legit. But yeah, next category. This one's a fun one. Gonna use a little multimedia here. It's gonna be our photos of the year. And now I don't know what the YouTube rule is when I post the photos on the video, whether it's gonna get pulled for copyright because these are UFC photos. But we got 3 strikes to play with, so we're just gonna try it out.
All right.
And now, let me get this ready. I'm going to pull up our photos. We all submitted 2 photos. I submitted 3 just because my first one is the sickest.
Hard mugging me, dog. What is that about?
I'm laughing with you.
Come
All right.
on.
Love you.
Photo 1.
Sheesh.
We have
Wow.
Jumbo Joe
Let's
and
go.
Austin Matthews at the UFC.
I love that.
Little
That's
context. I can claim it. I was Joe Thornton's house sitter once
yeah.
upon a time,
yeah.
house and
Claim that
dog
shit.
sitter. So Jumbo holds a little special place in the heart of mine. Jumbo at the UFC. So that's number 1. That one's kind of my fuck around. Not really real, but this one
Love that.
I love. So if you're just listening, it is Kevin Holland and what's his name, Oliveira. He's getting choked, and he's like, it's almost like a rear naked, but the hooks aren't in. He's not all the way on the back, and Holland's sitting there giving the double thumbs up to the camera, and he's looks as cool, calm, and collected as ever. Ends up winning the fight by TKO. Just very sick. Big mouth, always doing it. Then the last one had to be this. It's Patty the Batty at the O2 Arena when he had the crowd just eating out of the palm of his hand, getting up, doing his woo 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 dance. I mean, the guy just gets it. But yeah, Patty the Batty at the O2. Him and Meatball, I mean, literally, it was stealing the show. Like we said, the Aspinall thing ended up happening later in the card, but before that, it was a fucking party in that place.
Save that card.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, those
Big
guys
time.
just already won the night, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Meatball with the spinning back elbow or whatever it was. Had 2 this year. I don't know how none of those made our knockout of the year.
Dude, that was like number 3 or 2 on Tapology.
It's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
That was
those were
up there.
sick.
That was sick.
And she
Deserves
just
the belt
fucking,
grab.
dude, that belt grab. We've talked about it before, but that is just the worst thing in MMA history. All right, I think Boog, you're gonna be up next. Your first photo. Give us a little description.
Yeah, so here we got Platinum Mike Perry in his first bare knuckle match. Just a sick photo. He's spitting out blood. Great snap. Great camera was used, obviously. And yeah, it was just looks like a modern day gladiator, a modern day.
That is a good way of putting it.
Maximus Decimus Aurelius. So yeah. This was just a really sick photo, not only for me, but just kind of MMA all around. And I just kind of was like, yeah, this is definitely should be up there.
Yeah, I mean, I that's a great way of putting it, the Spartan photo. I mean, he's jacked, no gloves, so it's just the bare knuckles, spitting a fucking, just a poof of blood. Just encapsulates. Ooh, God, Boog, you fucking rubbed off on me.
Whoa, what's going on, boys?
It encapsulates the BKFC, just kind of blood and guts, just a really raw sport.
It's a great freaking pick.
It's a really good pick. I mean, just
photo.
perfectly timed.
Yeah.
All right, Boog, your next one. This is when you sent me this. This is like one of my favorite ones ever.
Yeah, so here we got Hamzat Chimaev sitting on top of the cage with his boy Smash Bro, Darren Till, first time in the corner, and this was honestly one of those fights where just like you didn't know what was gonna happen, but like the consensus and the like betting line was Hamzat was gonna steamroll Gilbert Burns, but like you didn't know, like he steamrolled Li Jing, you just don't know. And yeah, I mean, and that was just like a sick. I mean, no one's ever done that before,
right? And I like this because Burns intentionally took the longest fucking time possible and was just like, I'm gonna make Hamzat wait. So what does this guy do? He sits on top of the fucking cage and just is like, I'm waiting. I'm here all day. I don't give a fuck. And him and Till just staring him down. Just a badass fucking picture.
That calmed him down to get him to sit up there because he was like
pacing,
jumping, and like to get him sitting up there actually at the time was probably a good idea. But that is
he needed
awesome,
every ounce of energy that night too.
Seriously, but awesome photo, man.
Yeah, Darren Till's like, you guys ever watch like horse racing when they walk out the horses with like their friend horse? Like there's always 2 horses. That's fucking
that
Darren Till's his fucking buddy horse that keeps him calm before the race. Just a fucking dog.
Hilarious.
All right, love that. I love that. It's got the green fucking flair to it. Just sick. Wow. Kev Cal, here it is.
Pulls it out.
Sparing no F's right there. This is Kamaru Usman. 5th round, has just gotten the head kick from Leon and is out cold. This is the number 1 pound for pound. This guy has gone on to do movies. He has gone to so many records within the UFC, on the cusp of even some more that were not achieved this night, where only minutes remained until he achieved them for Usman as well.
Crazy.
And all of it goes in a flash. And this is that's just a tough look. And I mean, guess who's also in crowd witnessing the moment? Usman's daughter. I mean, this whole night for Usman, I still think this is a fighter who can bounce back from, just this defeat, which it sounds like he already has. But in the moment, right then and there, the landscape of the UFC was dramatically changed.
Yeah.
Right
in an
there.
instant.
When no one saw it coming. And everyone was just continuing to write the Usman story of just, you can't beat this guy.
Yeah.
No matter what right now, at least at 170. But yeah. Photo number 1 for me, changing of the guard at the welterweight division.
Love that. And I kind of like what you said already. Is I think we will see him back. The way he handled it, going on Rogan right away and just taking it on the chin, literally, and just being like
wrestler's mentality, man. It's
100%.
just just ready to get right back to it.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that would serve him well.
But yeah, God, that's a scary picture. You see the whites of the eyes just so clearly and
unreal,
just out, limp hand.
It's on Trevor Whitman.
Trevor Whitman laughing. Is that the one where he's like smirking in the background? Just the guy who loves violence, shit, Trevor Whitman.
Coach of the year, and then everybody lost.
Wow. Freaking the opposite of Coach of the Year. Freaking.
He did have a tough one this year.
Yeah.
Shitman.
Keep making your gloves, dude.
That's Tay-Meek's boy. All right, next one for Kev Cal.
This is the beginning of the fight.
Oh,
all right, here we go. For Pereira, Israel Adesanya. Now, originally, I wanted to send Jimmy a video or like a little reel of Pereira, how he is right now, just like a tree, frozen, paused, just staring him down. Israel with his classic, we've seen it, hands-on fence. And, this is trademark Izzy, and this is trademark Pereira. We're just seeing it for the first time, really, on the biggest stage. But if you watch him with Silva, or even just one of his fights with Michailidis, where he up-knees that guy, if you ever see his highlight on that. But he's just doing that. So it's both their trademark things, but I loved it because the dad and the coach were doing this to Pereira. So that's what I wanted to send Jim at first. But then I just saw this on Full Violence on Instagram as the page where I got this off of. But dude, so sick. And then, just for the moment and what ends up happening, and right before this too, man, this is Pereira shooting the arrow, the scream,
literally.
Like, whoa, like, it's like, dude, like, you just knew, like, this guy wasn't backing down from whatever was about to happen in there. This dude wasn't backing down. It was going to be a sick fight, obviously delivered. But yeah, this was number 2 for me. Pereira, Adesanya, the Genesis.
Yeah, no, and I feel like all the people that don't like the cameras on them, like the Pereiras and stuff, are all the guys that the camera is just meant for. Yeah. Like the scream with the bow and arrow, all that. Like any of those could have been his kids fucking giving the bow and arrow. All of those could have been picture of
those roots are just different, man.
Yeah, the face paint. He's got so many that are fucking gnarly.
It's enticing, cool. Man. It is so interesting. Man.
It is, honestly.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I'll try and get those in the video so those watching on YouTube can follow along. But
shout out the tube.
Shout out the tube. Yeah, those are, and I feel like that's the one thing about UFC is they have such a good production team nowadays that like all these pictures are like there's we have everything. We have the embeddeds. We have the cage, like, I don't know. The one thing I wish they had is, like, the PFL, like, the sensors and, like, the ref cams. Like, that sort of shit is, like you said, making it a little different. Like, getting there, or was that you? Making it a little different, getting views other ways. I think that would be really cool to see, like, a Francis punch fucking registered on a glove mid-fight. Crazy. But, yeah, photos of the year. Lock it down. 7, we're halfway through.
Halfway.
There we go. We'll see.
Meet me halfway, right at the borderline. Wow. Where I'm going.
Shout out to Rando
for you. Boog, lay it on us. Round of the year.
Yeah, man. So we touched on it earlier. My dude Bronx bro right here. Charles versus Gaethje, man. Could have been fight of the year. Obviously, it was submission of the year for Kev. Round of the year for me, it was just balls to the wall. Both guys get hurt. Both guys get dropped. And, it was just awesome. A lot of obviously, like, the weight scenario the day before got a lot of eyeballs on it. Charles was pissed. He fought pissed. And it was just, he came across through a big right. Gaethje knocks him down twice. To the submission. It's just crazy fight, awesome round. So that's my round of the year.
And I feel like Charles always makes fights exciting because he gets hurt. Like he'll take his lickings, but he always gives them back, and it's like that added extra element that just gives the fans that something. Kev, round of the year. What are we thinking?
So number 1 I had was Matt Schnell versus Sumadarji round 2.
Right.
Round 2. So it was a back and forth round where it was Sumadarji could have had it finished. Schnell could have had it finished. They kind of kept fighting. I mean, both guys kind of beaten and battered. Schnell, almost rolled that one real bad down the road there. Schnell gets the W. But, yeah, it was just a lot of grappling exchange, a lot of knockdown, 2 grappling, back to the feet, knockdown, like heavy grappling again, which ended up, being a submission. But, yeah, that was number 1, was round 2 of Schnell versus Sumadarji. With the Schnell finish. And then my second was Poirier versus Chandler, round 1, MSG, UFC 281. Just, a crazy back and forth.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, just bombs away. The perfect eye appeal round to sell somebody, hey, you want to watch some fights or like things that get you excited about it. That would be it. But yeah, that was number 2 for me.
I think with those 2 guys especially, they both look like fighters. They both have that fucking that build to them where they look like they could kill somebody.
And they have the mentalities to match it.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
they fight how they look, kind of.
How did you feel about the fish hook in that fight? Do you think what Chandler did was because he didn't get caught? Fine, you know what I mean, like not fine, but bending the rules to your advantage. You think that's the right thing? Not the right thing, but you know what I mean. What's your take on that? I guess is what I'm asking.
Poirier also said he bit down too.
Yeah.
So I like that. If you're gonna fish hook me, I'm gonna bite the bejesus out of you
for sure.
So that's just kind of all in. Like if that's what I'm saying. Like if you're gonna find something illegal, and in that moment I can do something illegal back to you, I am 100% gonna do it, because if that gets stopped, I'll be like, dude, he's in. Yeah. Period. End of story.
Right. How did I bite if it's not my mouth?
The foul began here, not me biting him.
Yeah.
So I say good on Poirier, because Chandler, hey, you're gonna hook, you're gonna hook. You don't get it called, whatever. I'm trying to win.
Exactly. That's kind of how I feel.
And then again with Poirier, this guy's trying to do it. Okay, I got to do this back. Obviously, it's not like his style. It's not what they do. But you're fish hooking, I'm biting. So it just kind of goes hand in hand.
Fuck. Yeah. No, I think I agree there. Chandler, I wouldn't be trying to go fish hook. It's like, if that's going to get the neck up, fuck. And it's
and it just so happens how it goes in there. Because, obviously, no one's intending to get in there. But if that's the play that got in there to, like you're saying, create leverage, fuck yeah.
Let them have it. Love that. Round of the year. Mine, I had O'Malley on. I didn't end up choosing them for this, but that third round, I thought was very technical. And both guys were landing. But the one I ended up going with was Dober versus McKinney. And I'm pretty sure McKinney fucking kicked Dober in the head and ended up on his ass. Like, it was the craziest thing. They were saying Dober blocks kick with his head.
It looked like it was going to be a march through.
Literally, it was the craziest thing. And that's another one where it was just back and forth. McKinney looked like he had him beat, and then kind of pressed too hard for the finish and got a little bit gassed, and Dober ended up coming back. But that fight was crazy. Stocks up for both guys. Just a hell of a way to start a card. But yeah, Dober versus McKinney was a very fun one, and I think that's something we could see in the future again. I think Dober's a little ahead of McKinney right now, but I think they'll end up seeing each other at least once more. But yeah, round of the year. Now, fight of the year. And now Kev takes away.
I'm piggybacking off round of the year. So number 1 fight of the year is Schnell versus Sumadarji. That's going down for one of mine fight of the year. That was in New York, July 16th. So it was a fight night. It was Ortega Yair. was the headliner for that one. But yeah, Schnell, Sumidarji. And then number 2 happened in San Diego. The main headline was Veracruz, but I went with Landwehr versus Onama. Sick effing fight. I remember watching that live, like, Landwehr, like, you don't really know if he's winning or losing, but he's, like, enticing crowd, making, kind of getting people on their side.
He's a nut, too.
But, yeah, I mean, gas tanks are done, but they kept swinging with some power, kept going. But, yeah, man, Landwehr, Onama, and Schnell versus Sumidarji for Fight of the Years for me. Kind of went off the mainstream because there's some other, like, big name, kind of fights, but those ones were just kind of wars, man. Really good.
Yeah.
Like, fan-friendly kind of fight.
They say Onama Landwehr was the fight that got Krause caught up.
Really?
Whoa.
Because he said put all the money on Onama.
Oh, that's dude. I remember a guy saying that.
I did not know that. That whole thing's crazy. How he was working with offshore betting companies. Like, it goes way deeper than people originally thought.
Ooh. Scary.
But yeah, I like those. Fight of the year for me is, again, I had Glover Yuri up there. It just was a crazy back and forth. Ended in a little bit of a surprise. But I think I'm going to go with Burns versus Chimaev. Again, we already kind of touched on it earlier, but they were Chimaev, heavy favorite going in. No one really knew what to expect of Burns in that fight. Ended up being a lot better of a fight than we thought, and just kind of a barn burner, honestly. And I think it sets up both guys for bigger fights in the future. Obviously, Burns lost, but again, no stock loss. I mean, when you're in those kind of wars in the UFC, I feel like it's only plus for you. There's not really that many negatives. But yeah, Burns Chimaev for me is gonna be the one. And then Boog, how about yourself?
Yeah, so this, like you guys said, a lot of good fights. A lot of people said Yuri Glover, which obviously was my sub of the year. But the fight that I really took home the cake for me, I rewatched it today. It really solidified. Just back and forth affair. One of the fighters called it quits afterwards, and this is Paulo Costa versus Luke Rockhold.
Wow,
great fight. Just a really just classic fight. Obviously, Rockhold struggled with his fatigue, but it was just back and forth. Paulo obviously was in better shape. That's why he got the win mostly. But I mean, skill for skill, they were pretty. I mean, Rockhold definitely came prepared on that end. Chin held up, took a few big shots. But yeah, and honestly, a few laughs in that fight too. I mean, when Rockhold goes double hands on the knees, and then Rogan
literally
goes,
taking
"Oh my
a
god,
break."
that's not good." It's like pretty funny. So yeah, that's my fight of the year.
Wow. That fight was honestly pretty funny. And like you said, Rockhold held up so much better than people thought. People were expecting a one-round massacre and get this guy out of there. But ended up doing better than I thought. And he's teasing a 2023 comeback, which
saw that.
I don't know if I like.
I'd be down.
But I just...
Not an elevation.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. He was at elevation, but it's like almost like he needs to just do grappling or something. Like
what's the contract situation in UFC? Like, if he has like one more fight left on a deal before he's a free agent or could just walk away,
right?
Maybe if you can get healthy enough for one more. But yeah, I don't know if he's. I'm kind of with you more so. I'm like kind of anti.
Yeah,
kind of a decent way to go out even though you lost.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good fight to be. Yeah. People are going to remember it as a good performance by you.
On a massive card.
Yeah.
A massive card, man.
Yeah, fuck, I forgot that is that card.
Utah.
Shit, yeah.
I thought it was the co-main.
That's what I'm saying. I think it was.
The lead-in. Yeah, I like that. Fight of the year. Wow, I would have never said that, but now that you say it, that is it's a good one. What do you? We kind of already touched on the Paulo, but who would, if he does stay in the UFC, who would you like to see him fight next?
Rockhold or Paulo?
Paulo.
Yeah, I mean, my answer, Hamzat.
Or is it Bobby Nux?
I'd be down.
I mean, why wouldn't he want Whitaker just for the bounce?
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, if you could remake Whitaker, I mean, for Paulo's standing, that's the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, style-wise, just for watching it, hell yeah, that's a great fight. And even him with Hamzat too.
Yeah, fuck. That's good. Like that. Love Paulo. Love the Santa Cruz man, Luke Rockhold. I've probably said this story on here, but he, when he was, I forget what high school he went to. It was like SoCal maybe, but he had a pottery class and he made a bong in art class. And his teacher was like, look, the only way I'm going to let you keep this bong is if you enter it into the art show, like the county art show. And so he did and fucking won.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And so he got to keep the bong.
Wow.
So good. That's just so Santa Cruz. Yeah, fucking classic. But let's move on. Story of the year. I wasn't sure where to go with this one. I wasn't sure whether to keep it fighting related or keep it outside the ring. But I think I put two. Both not good stories, but one's going to be the Cain Velasquez story. Mm-hmm. While it kind of it's not an ending because it's still ongoing, but he's out on bail now and at least with his family. But there really hasn't been any more updates. Trial's coming up soon, it seems. But story of him shooting at the car of the guy who abused his son, it was, or daughter, I forget.
Son.
And hitting the dad and ended up in jail. But shitty story, but trying to do the right fatherly thing. So, but I think that was one of the bigger ones. And then obviously the one that was most recent is the James Krause betting scandal. You kind of already touched on it, Boog, but had a fighter, Derek Minner, and guy seems to have been hurt, and James Krause, running his Discord betting channel, seems to have told the people to put money on Minner or on God, who was he fighting?
Well, no, just put money on Minner to lose.
Yeah, Minner to lose first round.
Yeah.
Especially, and that kind of tripped some wires and got some eyes looking at him, trying to figure out if he was running some shenanigans. And it seems like he was, and he was working with offshore betting sites and things like that. But that could be the story of 2023 as well. I mean, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg with the betting stuff. I don't think he's going to be the only one to get in trouble. I think there may be, I don't know if it's coaches or what, but I think
they already
there's going to be
suspended
more.
a UFC guy, Jeff Molina.
Oh, really?
Got
I didn't know that.
suspended from there too. Yeah, because he still, after the UFC said like don't bet,
he was betting. Yeah, well, he deserved it. It's just an idiot move. But yeah, so I think that has the potential to be the story of 2023 as well as it shakes out. But yeah, Boog, how about you? What stories we got going?
Well, first of all, side note, I always thought Jeff Molina was a chick for the longest time.
Jeff Molina?
Like if you like just look and don't know, it's a guy.
I guess, yeah.
I'm telling you. But so yeah, my story of the year is UFC 279. Press conference gets canceled. Everyone kind of doesn't know what happened. It comes out that obviously Kevin Holland and Hamzat getting into it. Diaz camp shows up, and they start getting into it with Hamzat, and it's just a kind of a cluster F. And Ferguson was sitting back eating his popcorn and blue slushy. And so that happens, and then early Friday morning, rumor is Hamzat's not going to make weight, and it's kind of like this mystery. And I remember like Ariel's Spotify Live had like a lot of people, like just no one knew what was going to happen. The weigh-in show had no idea, but like they just knew. Hamzat comes in not like sucked out, not kind of like smiling, just like, and everyone's like, this guy's the biggest DICK in the world,
Right?
And so no one really knows what's happening. Obviously, like people are making scenarios, but he weighed in close to Kevin Holland and Rodriguez fight, and then obviously Dana makes the announcement on the live. Everyone was waiting for it. Those 3 fights all get switched up, and then I mean, Holland and Hamza, and they came out with that one video that kind of explained the beef that happened post backstage at the press conference. But and then I mean, to have a fight card change the day before through the 3 main fights, I mean, that was pretty bizarre.
And those fights, in my opinion, I think might have been better than the 3 original fights.
Yeah.
I mean, the Holland one obviously got ragdolled. That's kind of the one. It is what it is. But the other 2 were damn good fights. Rodriguez and the Leech, and then Ferguson and Diaz.
Kind of saved Tony in a way.
I was gonna say, dude, that would have been hard to watch. But yeah, Tony gets to go out on a shield, getting choked out. I like that. But Kev, lay it on us. Stories of the year for you, or story.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback one that you said, Jim, the Krause betting scandal. And I agree that it could be even more here in 23. But that's huge because that's never really been a huge kind of major mainstream controversy in the UFC yet. And it's with a pretty notable name. Coaching a lot of people I mean, heck, we had Brandon Moreno fight under him. So I mean, a well-known guy, well-known name. And then number 2, I just went with Leon's title.
Nice.
Just huge upset, big win. You can have photos of the year for Leon with all the positivity and things that,
for sure,
Leon had an experience in Utah when he, obviously wins the belt. And, I guess more of Leon's story being told way more often. And then now that he's got the title and post-title, how everything's really came full circle. Guys had a really tough career, especially up through COVID. Fights canceled, fans giving him shit. So for him to get to the top after all of it, hats off to freaking Leon, man. 100%. Yeah. So, story of the year number 2 is Leon getting the title.
I feel like it's so weird for Leon to win the title in Utah out of all play. Like, it's just so different.
He didn't even know where it was at.
That's what I mean.
He said. He's like, I don't know where the F Utah is at.
It's just so weird.
He'll know it forever now.
Yeah,
he'll know it forever now.
But it's just such an odd thing. That's why the fight game's sick.
I was gonna say that's why it's great that he wins it in Utah.
Yeah,
out of all spots, all things, it's just Leon.
Hail Mary.
Yeah,
don't get those anywhere else.
But yeah, I like that, the Leon story, and I feel like that should be the story. Like, in every one of these categories, you could find a way to fucking shoehorn the Leon Usman fight in there. You know what I mean? It's really something. All right, well, let's last 3 categories. Before we choose the female male fighters of the year, we're gonna go to bold predictions for 2023. Now, Turner Meeker said he's got a few here, so why don't you lead us off? And the one you said you were gonna leave off, don't let us hear it.
So, first one is kind of one that might not happen. It should have happened. It's last week, but it's going to happen a little bit. But I think Jeff, a.k.a. Geoff Neal, stops the Shavkat train. I think, especially because now it's with a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I think Shavkat kind of succumbs to the folds to the pressure.
Shavkat. What do you? Never mind. Go on.
So then we kind of touched on it prior to this, but I didn't write it down, but I was thinking this. Mike Perry, Jake Paul gets that fight.
Ooh, I like that.
Boxing?
Yeah.
You think both?
Shit.
Boxing
maybe,
for sure.
Yeah, but boxing would be the first one.
Yeah.
Mike puts on the pillows, as he likes to say. And then
you want a spa?
The last one, I'm gonna have Kev read. Just read what's on those lines, Kev.
What's on those lines?
Word for word.
This is some tough writing, man. All right, here we go. Let's see. Conor McGregor raises gold once again. There we go. So Conor McGregor raises gold once again.
You said it, I didn't.
Now, is that a gold chain off his neck, or what's this gold he's raising? Nah, but for real, if you really do think that's true, what weight do you think he has the best shot?
Doesn't matter.
Well, it's not going to be 45.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could be. I'm probably one of the only people who thinks he can beat Makhachev, but probably 70.
You think he can beat Islam?
Yeah.
How does that?
He's been in there 4 rounds with Khabib. He knows what it's like, and did better than Poirier, did better than Gaethje.
It's true, but
And Charles.
And he what's it called? Was drinking all camp and
supposedly, I think he was sober.
he was coked up. Shout out.
It's when he's best.
Shut up.
I like that though. I know that's probably not going to happen, but that's a very Meek prediction. So
If he fights in July and wins,
if
belt in December,
he just needs to win one.
Yeah,
that is
100%.
true, and he's fighting for the belt. That's always going to be the case with him. I like that though. That's a very Meek prediction. Cav, lay it on us. Bold prediction 2023.
All right. I also went with 3.
Nice.
So number 1, I'm going to just get this one out. I had this one written down as number 2, but I'm going to say number 1. Conor is not going to fight in 2023.
Wow.
I love how you made me read that.
Capital bold.
Go to yours.
Because I was just thinking, I was like, God, it's going to be great when it's my turn. But yes, so number 1, Conor's not fighting in 23. Yeah, I just don't see it. I think, I mean, we're confirming that he's on acting sets now.
I saw that picture.
You know, so I think we're moving on, or we're just looking to capitalize elsewhere right now, while maybe still training, or at least, you know, staying familiar with the gloves and the, you know, just hitting bodies. But yeah, first one, Conor's not fighting in 23. Number 2 is Leon will not hold the belt through the calendar year.
Ooh.
So by the time we turn to 2024, Leon won't hold it.
Do you think it's Usman that takes it back? Or
I don't know, but I'm figuring we at least are going to have 2 chances. Usman, 1 more during the calendar year at least.
Right.
You would ideally probably want 3, but I figure, I don't know, I just think by the end of the year, Leon's not holding the belt. Someone's going to get Leon at the 170 division. And then going to number 3 is we are going to see Robert Whittaker versus Roman Dolidze for a number 1 contender fight or for the belt at middleweight. Wow. 2023. Roman Dolidze. Got him coming up later. But yeah, Dolidze, Whittaker. I think Whittaker's going to still obviously remain at the top. Dolidze right now is matched up with Marvin Vettori. Mm-hmm. So you get by Vettori. Here comes Rob. And Rob might be having the belt, or it's going to be, like I said, right there for Roman Dolidze. Could be a household name by the end of the summer.
Yeah.
If he takes care of some real business.
That Vlismus cardio.
God. Fuck that, man. I thought JP was on the wrong side of that this whole time, and then I got the real story. You hate to see it.
It's a real story.
That she was a fucking cheating little hoe. I thought JP was in the wrong. No, couldn't be.
That's a tough story.
I know.
And then Dolidze just.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know where JP's at.
JP's a 125 and Dolidze's a 185.
Yeah.
Georgian gorilla.
That's, you hate to see that. I mean, I think I'd kill myself. Bold predictions 2023. I got 1 and 1 only. That's John Jones wins the heavyweight title. John Jones defends the heavyweight title against Stipe Miocic. And then John Jones retires. Wow. I think defending, he gets the double champ status. Well, I guess he's not double champ at the same time, but
2 belts.
2 belts, and then 2 weight classes, and then he defends it once just to say I'm supposed to be the champ, and then gives it up. And I think he rides off into the sunset. I think he's going to be one of those guys that we don't hear from too often after he's done. I think the UFC is going to kind of separate themselves from the John Jones. Obviously, he's going to be the GOAT. He's going to be around for all the big things, but he's kind of proven that he can't be in the city of fucking Vegas. So as long as the headquarters are there, I think him and the UFC are going to be not on bad terms, but it's just not going to be a Forrest Griffin-like relationship. It's going to be.
I was just about to say.
But yeah, so I think John Jones gets the belt, and like we just saw, the Cyril Gane fight's supposedly on for March, so that's step 1 of this. And for the record, I had this written down weeks ago, so the Cyril Gane fight getting solidified just helped your boy out.
Wow, I love that.
But yeah, bold predictions. There they are, 2023. And then our last 2 categories. Kev, if you want to lead us off with the female fighter of the year, 2022.
Had one name only for this one. That is Zhang Weili. I mean, pretty much a shoe-in, especially off the 0-2 to bounce to 2-0 and to now hold the belt. So you pretty much kind of went from a lowest of low spot for at least how low maybe Zhang Wei could go, and then getting back to the belt and looking at good things future-wise. And again, she's holding belts. So she's back on pay-per-view. So she's making good money. She's got the belt. Now she's got the points. Her whole life's changed again.
Yeah.
2-time champ. So, yeah, female fighter of the year, easy pick, at least in my thought, Zhang Weili.
Zhang Weili. Yeah, I did the same thing. Zhang Weili, like we said before, 0-2 to 2-0. Back to looking like her fucking jacked self. Her pad work is back to sounding like a dude hitting pads. I mean, it's nasty. But yeah, I think she continues this in 2023. I don't know who she's gonna fight, honestly. But I think just kind of wide open for her. Who is the other girl from China? Isn't she supposed to fight her soon? I forget her name. There's a prospect from China.
I know who you're talking about.
Faber's girl?
It might be, yeah.
It'd be Mackenzie Dern.
It might have been. I forget. I hate Mackenzie Dern, so I tune out for her fights.
So like Zhang Waonong or something
yeah,
like that?
that might be it, yeah.
Something.
We're going to sound super racist.
Something Wong.
No.
Way
But-
too low.
Bang, bang, ow.
That newscast. I was watching that live when that went on.
That is easily the funniest thing that's happened.
Have you ever seen that?
No.
There was
my
a plane
God, bro.
crash. It was when like the Malaysian Air 74 or 7 whatever went down, and someone reported to the news the names of the captain. It was Bang Ding Ao, Something Wong, way too low.
Oh, my
And the
word.
news put it
Yeah,
up
there was
like
an intern,
And was
an
reading
intern
it?
sent it. Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
It's like
an
we just got
intern
named of the
sent it.
pilot. We just got name of the pilot.
And it like literally the funniest
Oh
thing.
my
Like in all seriousness,
Yeah,
they
they had to
said
come on and apologize like that night.
That is nuts. Oh, my God.
Bang Ding Ao might be my favorite. That's so fucked. Female fighter of the year, like I said, Zhang Weili.
Yeah.
We got the same. Boog.
Zhang Wei Li, and I mean, we'll give a shout out to Larissa Pacheco.
Yeah.
Beat, what's her face? Took the O from.
Kayla Harrison.
Yeah. And then I think they said she had like 3 KOs in the first round this year as well. So.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one, too, because she was
She's
clearly a
0-2
big name.
against Harrison before.
Yeah.
I would love to see, more so than the guys, I would love to see girls from other organizations come over to the UFC. I feel like that would really, I mean, there's just not that many of them to begin with.
Yeah.
And I feel like all the divisions are kind of shallow, and they could really be a whole hell of a lot deeper combining. There's so many more fights. But yeah, that's the first category. I think we've all had
A consensus.
a consensus vote.
Not a whole lot of other contenders for that one.
Yeah,
at least that maybe came to mind as much as Zhang Weili.
No, not at all. Alrighty, then the last one, it's going to be our male fighters of the year. Now, I was debating between Volk and Pereira. I went with Pereira. 3-0. Bruno Silva, Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya. He's had 4 fights in the UFC. 3 were this past year, and he's the champ. I think that pretty much says it all. Volk had a couple good fights, but I think as a whole, when you put the whole year together, Pereira did more with a lot less. But again, that's kind of tough to say because Volk's already at the top. Where do you go from there? But Pereira going to be my male fighter of the year 2022, and honestly could be 2023 male fighter of the year. I know I've been saying that a lot tonight, but with his power, he's got the ability to just fucking stay on it and fight often. That's the thing. Yeah. As much as he wants, I think he's going to be able to fight. So, Boog, male fighter of the year.
Yeah. This was pretty easy for me. Obviously, he was knockout of the year for some. He was story of the year for some. I mean, how many people were saying Leon Edwards at any awards show last year? I mean, even just mentioning him.
Right. No.
I mean, the only mention he got was the Nate that he got was on just absolute queer street in the 5th round. But to do what he did,
I forgot about that.
Kev,
honestly.
yeah, Kev said, I mean, down on the cards, pound for pound #1 guy in the world. Not going to get another title shot, probably. Like, not a big name. Mm-hmm. And just to pull that out, I mean, a true 45-point Hail Mary for the win, 1 minute left, to just stone cold Usman, who hadn't even been taken down in the UFC. I mean, that's fight of the year. And obviously, like, could have done Volk, could have done Pereira. But, yeah, I mean, for me, it was Leon Edwards. Had to be.
I like that. That's a solid one. Yeah. Cav, final. Last one. Male fighter 2022. Who you got?
So I will go first. I had Pereira. So I'm going to piggyback off that one. And then I kind of broke down 2 other guys. And they both went undefeated. So Roman Dolidze, Drew Dober. Now within the wins, Roman Dolidze had 3 finishes of Kyle Dawkins, Phil Haas, Jack Hermanson. Pretty solid strength of schedule. 3 finishes, 3 performances of the night.
Wow.
So he maxed out literally every time he could get in there.
All he could,
yeah. So not only with wins, finishes, money. So Dolidze, and now is number 8. Now he's got Vittori. Like, what this guy just accrued in 2022 is an astronomical jump.
Yeah.
So he got some love from me. Number 2, Drew Dober. Again, 3-0, 3 finishes, a performance in the night, a fight in the night, and the one that didn't get it was the McKinney fight, which could have been the round of the year.
Yeah. For real.
So he was involved again in 3 massive big moments or things where he could max out money-wise, exposure-wise, and he's now back to number 12 in lightweight. So he was out of the rankings, shot his way back up, could be looking up, or just another big name, kind of how we were talking about a little bit earlier. But so yeah, underneath Pereira, for sure, number 1. Had also just given love to Dolidze and Dober because they're definitely knocking on the door for some good shit in 2023.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I like what you said there. It definitely sets them up for 2023 perfectly. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna if they do keep fighting at this 3-fight clip, it's gonna be hard to not see them in the single digit rankings by the end of next year.
It's just crazy if you're healthy for 3 fights, what it could do. 1 year you stay healthy, you get 3 wins. I mean, boom. You're knocking on some big time doors,
right? And I mean, we saw that with Holland too. Just staying ready. I mean, it's just there's
always
always
rewarded
fights. Yes, Strickland
same. I know, right?
Just
what's
said
gonna
how
happen
much
next
they
for
got
him?
racked out. But yeah. Well, there they are, our awards. Before we go, Is there any awards that weren't on here that you guys would like to see next year? I think Coach of the Year has got to get added.
That was my first thought.
I like that one. But is there anything else that you could think of off tops?
Loss of the year?
Ooh.
Yeah, I was gonna say worst year, and this year I'd put Dawkins Bros.
Dawkins Bros. Philly, not a good year for Philly cops. Worst year. Yeah, I like those. That'd be fun. Those are fun ones to add in. I feel like gives us a little something extra.
How about most exciting division we like to watch? So like maybe there's some just like deep fights and like go like in 185 or something like that. So like what division you maybe enjoy? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like 155s could be good for that one. 45s, 70s. I mean, you could have some good, maybe back and forth, just stuff like that.
Definitely.
Sanhagen Vera fight of the year.
Who?
Oh, Sanhagen Vera. I mean, shit, definitely got the potential. But fuck. All right, folks. Well, until next time. That was a nice hour, 45-ish. So I think we got it in. That's nice. I'm gonna take a picture of all of our sheets, and then next
First
year
ever.
we'll compare them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We gotta do some like 3-month tracking. See where we're at. End of the first
that's
quarter.
Fun, yeah,
See where we're at. Who's in? Who's out on some stuff?
love that.
Man, I was riding Delete say, man, he better beat Vittori,
I
bro. Otherwise, my 10 through 12 are weak, dude.
That's perfect. Anyways, well, until next time, y'all. Peace. See you guys.